the show this morning.
Good morning.
All right, we also have Hope Okoye. Hope is Executive Director, Intercom Africa. Hope, good morning.
Good morning.
And we have Onyeka Obieze. Onyeka Obieze is a public affairs analyst. Good morning, Onyeka.
Good morning.
All right, quickly, let's look at the 2024 Day of Social Justice. Let's start with you, Nkoli. I hope that's your name. Okay, let's start with you now, talking about this day, why the UN decided to bring out a day like this, 20th of February, annually for the celebration or commemoration of social justice.
I don't know why they did that.
Okay, Hope.
As a result of what has been happening, just like you have highlighted, you talked about kidnapping, abuses of human rights, and UN has one of the reasons why UN always dedicates a day to commemorate a particular issue is actually to bring it to limelight, to use it for public sensitization, to call the attention of the people, to mobilize for action. When people are enlightened, actions are being mobilized towards mitigating and eradicating of that particular issue in question. So when we talk about social injustice, as we are talking about, they actually dedicated this day so that they will use this also to identify victims of all these abuses and also to create public awareness and enlightenment concerning the issue.
All right, thank you so much. Nkoli, let's hear from you. The reason why you think some of these abuses, social injustice, is on the high side these days?
When you look at the world over, things are very, very difficult these days. And there's so much hunger, so much strife, and a lot of people don't even have means of livelihood. And if they have, what you can buy for maybe 500 naira is today 2,005 or more. So it's weighing so much on people, and it's a kind of degenerate to maybe mental health, and that you wouldn't even know. Psychological problems someone might be undergoing it. Some people will say that they're so depression. So a person in such a situation might go out of his or her way to do certain things that ordinarily that person would not have done. I think these are some of the reasons.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, let's quickly note that this day, so it can also be called Social Justice Equality Day. It's an international day recognizing the need to promote social justice, which actually include effort to tackle issues such as poverty, like we've already mentioned, exclusion, gender inequality, unemployment, human rights, and social protection. The United Nations General Assembly declared to observe this on the 20th of February. That is what we are doing here today. We are also, trying to see how we can join the world over in commemorating this Social Justice Day. And it was approved on 26th of November 2007, but the commemoration started in the year 2009, and it was named the World Day of Social Justice. So let's come to you, Onyeka. Just like we've read out, now we decided just to lay a little background of how this day came about and the importance of commemorating this day. What do you have to say about some of the social injustices that is happening all over the world today? Nkoli has laid some foundation, talking about some of the reasons why she thinks that this is what we have today in our society. You as a man, what are those things that you see that have fueled these injustices against citizens of different nations?
Social justice is like social injustice is man and humanity to man. Social injustice is most of the times is created by the government. Because if the government knows how to handle the situations, individuals will follow suit. Like as you can see, America has social security. And this social security covers everybody. Whether you are the poor, you are the rich, you are a child, you are an adult, the social security covers you. And that is why you are secured at every other time. Like in Nigeria, the government of Nigeria has not done anything for the citizens at all. They have not created a system where people will have confidence to patronize the government. How can somebody, we have a lot of graduates in the system who are not working. Why the government has the power to create jobs for them. And then somebody will be in government and take all the money that even his 10th generation cannot finish. Why people are suffering. That is social injustice. And it is created by the elites who are supposed to do the right things, and they have refused to do it. So if the people now struggling to survive, maybe somebody will just go out and snatch bread to go and eat, they will burn the person, set fire on him. Somebody will go and carry a pot of soup, they will kill the person. While somebody has taken the money that these people are supposed to use to cook their soup and buy their bread. That person will be crowned chief, and a lot of chieftaincies will be given to him. The government will keep giving him an award. And the people who have stolen their money are crying. And today, what is going on today in the system is that everybody is now his own government, trying to provide for himself, trying to feed himself, which is not supposed to be. A social security where when you get abroad, you see a child that is born, the mother is taking care of the child, and the government is paying the mother, at least for the next 6 months. Mm-hmm. They will be paid to take care of the child. And when the child is supposed to go to school, the child has gone to school free. When the child has graduated, the person is given accommodation, maybe 1 bedroom for himself till he gets a job, and he's being paid. Now here, every system in Nigeria is corrupt. Every system, from the government to the religious leaders to the family leadership. Now, the government is supposed to provide for the citizens at all times, but it's not done here. Rather, they'll be telling us to be patient with them. You want us to be patient with you, you are buying SUV, you are buying yachts, you are buying private jets. The churches are doing the same. The general overseers are buying multiple planes for themselves and their families.
So you know that what it cuts across board, not just the government.
If the international community is talking about social justice, they should not come to Nigeria at all because we don't operate it here. Or they should come and help us to build it. So this Social Justice Day is a day that everybody should cry out. If we start crying out to the government to know that they should not even let us hear about this social justice. It should be at the international level, not in Nigeria, because we don't operate it here.
But don't you think that if we keep talking about it, probably they will listen, they will hear what we are saying, and of course do the right thing?
A lot of things have been talked over in Nigeria here, nothing has been changed.
But we cannot just keep quiet. Now, what do you suggest that citizens do in a time like this?
In a time like this, people should provide for themselves and forget about the social justice.
Then if we should be providing for ourselves, we don't need to complain. Or we don't need to blame the government.
Who is complaining?
No, we are complaining. You are just saying that governments are not doing a whole lot. All right, let's just leave it there. Let's come to you, Hope. Now, this day, just like we've established that the UN actually brought out this day to make sure that injustices, social injustice, being faced by people, that it's being reduced to barest minimum, because there's no how we can eradicate it entirely. Now, my question is, how does this day for social justice, aim to encourage collaborations and solidarity among different communities?
When we talk about communities, community can represent different things.
Yes.
It can represent the settlement of people. It can represent different stakeholders. It can situations. So, and from what he was saying, making reference when he talked about the government not providing the employment and everything. I know that when you talk about employment of people, it's not solely dependent on the government. There is a room for private partnership, collaboration to provide, but for them to be able to do that, the government have a very critical role to play by creating an enabling environment. And this enablement environment we are talking about ranges when you talk about the infrastructures that is needed, the road network that is needed, the power. All of us are seeing what is happening in the nation today. And you find out that even families cannot even sustain how much more somebody that is into production. So you find out that we have a total system failure. If these basic things are not in place, there is no power in the country, there is no water, there is no infrastructures that will help, you find out that not even the private partners can even help. So when we're looking at the synergy for the communities, you find out that we all have a role to play. But if we are looking at Nigeria situation, I don't even know, because looking at, if you talk about mobilizing people to vote, you look at the outcomes of the voting, you look at what is happening in the nation. A keke driver was lamenting yesterday. He is doing what they call high purchase. Okay. High purchase. And he had just one room for him and his family. And he needed to do little touches in that. He now said for him to buy a bag of cement. A bag of cement, as at last year, by this time of last year, was less than 4,000 naira. But a bag of cement today is 13,000 naira. For if you look at it, it's more of like almost 300% increase of what it. So he was like, if he carries a passenger that collects 100 naira, 200 naira at the end of the day, he will make like at most 12,000. And that 12,000 is not even up to for him to buy a bag of cement that he needed. He will feed his family. He will give to the owner of the keke, and he will maintain the keke. He will pay for the tax. Sorry, I have to use their language. They will say soludo task. They have to pay for it. So when you look at all these things now, you find out that people, it's like there is no hope for the masses. So everybody coming together now is that to be honest with you, we cannot even be able to say this is what people can do, because are you mobilizing? We have seen what happened during the NSAS time. We have seen what happened during the election. So what is it that you can say that people will come together to do? We don't know, but for me, being a Christian, I still trust that God can still help us when we do the right thing.
Onyeka said that we should forget about the government and just keep providing for ourselves, right? I'm saying your mind.
But that is what it is.
So that's what you just asked a question. What would people do? I've asked you. You said that forget about the government, forget that they are doing this or that. Just decide, look for a way to provide for yourself.
When you keep hoping on people, you get disappointed. Why I say this? If you run to the church, the pastor will only ask you to sow seed. He doesn't care if you have food to eat. He doesn't care if you have money at home. He doesn't care if you have transport to go home. His own is a Samaritan woman or Zarephath woman gave all her oil. So give your own.
Well, let's ask questions.
No, wait, okay. Because when you say this thing, you keep brushing it off. Don't brush it off, because people should hear this and understand.
Go ahead.
If pastor is telling you to sow seed, and the pastor is not, even Bible said, feed the person before you tell the person about any other thing. So if somebody comes to the church and you are giving the person to pay tithe, pay offering, pay seed, pay this, you are not asking the person. Then the people that came with big money to the church, you don't ask them, how did you get this money? Church is supposed to be a moral system where morals are being fine-tuned, not where money is being collected. It's supposed to be when you come with, so I know you are not doing anything. You don't have a visible means of income. And tomorrow you came to pay tithe of 1 million. How? Where is it coming from? A pastor should ask you, bishop should ask you, how did you get this money? Because we are not seeing anything you are doing. What is your visible means of income?
Okay, sorry.
No, in with respect to that, you know, most people or most preachers will say, follow my words, but do not follow my character attitude, which is not the real thing. Because the actual thing is that you live by example. You see, in the world we are today, we are talking of social justice, everything has completely and totally changed. Growing up as a child, every mother in every neighborhood is a mother to every child. If any child errs, any mother around will spank the child, correct, and do things. And when that person's own mother comes back, she will add on top of that.
Not even
but today,
what happened.
It can never happen. Just make correction you give to a child, the mother will start asking you.
Now, let me ask you a question. How did we get to this point?
Well, that is a question that one may not be accurate to answer, how we got to where we are today. But we got to where we are today because things are no longer the way they used to be. Like what he was saying about government, making provisions, maybe having something like free education. Okay, like our present governor has started it in Anambra State, that at the primary school level you have free education. So no child, no parent will say, I don't have money to send my children to school. You know, the Westerns, they have it. Western Nigeria, Yoruba area, they have it. Free primary education. So you can't say that you don't even have money to send your child to school for them to go and learn. Then another thing is peer group. You know, at times you might do your best, your bid at home. And when your children leave that home to join with other children, they learn what you didn't teach them at home as a parent, and they grow with it. You can see, okay, there's this thing they call ulumili, or even the language we have today, ibutego, ibutike. You see, these are things that before now you don't have them. Like he was saying, if somebody comes into a community with so much money, nobody will talk to the person. They will reject the money. They won't accept it. But today, they judge you by the amount of money you've made. How can a 17-year-old boy be wanting to be billionaire? What are you doing? Nobody wants to work to make money. But our society is a society, at least Igbo societies, you should work. That's the foundation we have. You should work to make a living. But these days, nobody wants to work to make a living. So these are the thing has gone so bad, but I believe that they said that a journey of 1,000 miles starts by a day, one step. So I know that when we start that one step of corrections, we'll get there someday.
Okay, you want to answer
yes, I truly want us to balance whatever we are saying so that we wouldn't leave what we are saying and shift it. When we are talking about he was talking about the church.
Okay.
That the church has a part of the blame from what he said. But I want us to know that the people that is in the church is the people, the society, the people from the communities. They are the people in the church. And we cannot overlook there is a spiritual law. And we cannot overlook that the main cause of all that we are saying is because people lack fear of God. If people truly fear God, some of the things they are doing, all this corruption, stealing money and all these things, wouldn't have been there in the first place. We've lost our moral value. I think that was the foundation of the whole problem. We've lost the moral value. That is why all these explanations they are giving, that people, a young man will come home with money, nobody questions, rather they will give the person one title or the other. Then others will emulate because, we learn by imitation. So when the young boys and the young men and people in a community where the Omona meeting, where an elder with full of wisdom and knowledge want to speak, they will shut him down to sit because a young man that went out, came back with money that they don't even know the source want to speak. They would rather shut the elderly man down. And when other people, the man may go back home and now be challenged to make sure that his own child also makes money. So gradually we lost it. We lost that moral value. But if we are looking at trying to talk about sow seed, the woman of Zarephath, and all those things are spiritual law. Even the world we are living, we know that there is being controlled by spiritual law, so that we won't leave our problem and begin to shift it. People may not understand. If you don't balance it, people will begin to look at it as if the problem is the church. The church is the people in the society. That is what I want us to know.
Well, another thing about the church I want to say, I don't want us to debate so much on that, is nobody is forcing you to sow a seed in the church or to give offering, and it's not under duress. So you are being compelled. If they talk to you, like me, if I'm in the church, if you like bring 1 million motivational speakers to talk to me on the deed that I must sow a seed before I receive blessings from God, I'm not going to do that. Unless I'm moved to do that, that's it. So we are adults and we have our own mind. Nobody should think for you. Nobody should think for you.
And I want us to.
I can decide on my own. Personally, I decide on my own to do something. I am not expecting anybody. If you go to a church, and then if you don't have the money, even if they shout and say you should sow this thing, where will you get the money from? So we should use our senses sometimes. How will you be guilty? If you want to be guilty, be guilty.
Okay,
but then what I'm saying is, let's just not push the blame to the church. And we don't want to. We don't want to talk about church. Maybe another day we bring out
the issue of the church.
What we are talking
If
about.
you are talking about social justice,
yes,
social injustice,
yes,
you don't overrule.
No, but let's not just pin it on the church or the church.
I'm not saying that, but even the
congregants have the mind of their own. If you want to do something, do it on your own. Don't let anybody brainwash you or force you or coerce you to do what you don't want to do.
Have a strong will.
That is why you are a human being.
Let me tell you something.
You should have a strong will.
When you have.
Will you still to give them if you don't have?
If people still to give.
No,
the people that are working in government that are paying salary, that are giving offering and tithe of millions of naira. Well, how much is that salary?
We are living well with.
They are selling money from the government and they are giving us tithe and offering.
To do things, then we don't need to.
We are discussing about social justice and injustice. Don't cover anybody.
It has to be.
I'm not covering anybody.
You are covering people.
I am not covering anybody. Nobody is covering anybody. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a pastor's child or anything. I'm not covering anybody. But what I am saying is this: when it comes to the church or when it comes to giving, nobody should.
They should disabuse people from that.
Nobody should force you to do that. And then some pastors, I also agree with what you have said, that some people will come with money. You know they are not doing anything. And they will come and donate to the building. What I'm saying.
Is it not the same people
I am
that are giving
saying that I am standing with you
at the
on
community
that
level?
So it cuts across.
That is what we are saying.
So let us not blame the church. That's
all right,
the loss of moral. It's not. It's the loss of moral value. Let's call it the name. It's the loss of moral value. That's why the people are giving. That's why people are giving titles to people without knowing where they brought the money. It starts from the community.
I have a friend who has nothing to do with church. I am telling you. Why I say this is because he's so corrupt in his mind and doing things. But last year they gave him bishop. In this employment square. I asked him, how? You don't have a church.
All right. Let's quickly.
So these things are just, even the chieftaincy title they are giving in the communities, the churches are giving it. If you can give a person that doesn't have a church a bishop, so what? How?
Well, I think that we all in our own little way that how we have contributed to the social injustice that is being seen all over the church, the community leaders, the traditional rulers, so in our different organizations where we work, some bosses, owners of industries and organizations, we have contributed to what we are facing today. Now, the theme for this year is bridging gaps, building alliances. And then, if we want to explain it better, we say that this theme emphasizes the importance of collaboration and partnership. Yeah, all hands need to be on deck to see how we can correct this anomaly in our society. Now, what role do we have to play now on individual basis, on organizational basis, and then generally as a society? Let's start with you, Nkole.
Okay, I think being your brother's keeper will be part of the roles that we are going to play. For example, we have recently on social media about a lady lawyer that wants a child that lives with her. And you see, anytime I see that, I shudder. I wonder, what must this child have been done to warrant her burning her buttocks I understand using a hot, oh God. But you see, maybe if you examine that lady, she might have some mental issues that we don't know. You know, a lot of people, due to the stress in the society, a lot of people undergo a lot of mental issues, mental health that you don't know. It may be an uncle, but I'm not making an excuse for her. But a lot of people. So, and if I am your neighbor and I'm able to, you say, see something, say something. Speak out. If we are able to, don't look the other way, but we speak out, it will help. Do you understand what I'm saying? It will really help. But if we now live the life of Obasaram, it's none of my business. You go your way, one day it might reach to you, it might be your own word or your own child. So my advice to us is that whenever we see something in our neighborhood, let us speak out. That's the most important thing.
All right, we'll continue with our discussion right here in the studio this morning, but we want to, go for street walk. We have some people that we've interviewed before now about the topic we are discussing today, the 2024 Day of Social Injustice. Let's hear what they have to say.
We celebrate it to know the things we've done well and the things we've not done well. And from there, it will help them to move forward.
There's no social justice in Nigeria, so we need not celebrate it at all. The big is getting richer and the poor is getting poorer. And people are dying every day. Why the rich and society are increasing in affluence? What are you talking about social justice? Social justice is about caring for the less privileged and the masses. It is not in the country. What are we celebrating there? Unless we restructure the architecture of the system of the leadership, it must be restructured before we can talk of social justice. Leadership must be seen as contributory. Leadership should not be payment per se. It should be, especially at the legislative arm of the government, those who are making the laws. It shouldn't be that you go and carry and grab. What are you going to contribute to the upgrading of the nation? That is what it takes in other developed countries. People go to serve because of their willingness to serve the people, not because I want to go and acquire, and that is why we have a problem in Nigeria. Everybody aspiring for silver just to go and acquire. What have you given?
The essence of celebrating it is for we to refresh our memories from the past to the present, know where we have got it right and where we got it wrong. And again, to improve more, because as our country today, I don't think we are getting it right.
There is no reason Nigeria as a whole to join the entire world to celebrate the Justice Day. In the last 2023 general election, if you are here, you can witness that. As far as Nigeria is concerned, they don't know justice. It has been a long time that the justice has gone in Nigeria, especially this political era.
You're welcome back to the studios of Anambra Broadcasting Service, where we are talking about the 2024 Day of Social Justice. And we heard what people have to say that, so the last person actually spoke on Yeka's mind, saying that we are just joining the world over to celebrate, but there is nothing we are celebrating or commemorating. But I beg to differ, because if we don't talk about some of those things, maybe there wouldn't be a solution at the end of the day. So we need to talk about it. We need to join the world over to commemorate this day and talk about it. If not, we wouldn't be here, seated here, talking about it. And then the first speaker, Benjamin Ezagoba, spoke a whole lot, saying about the leadership and then our role when we are trying to vote for these people. Sometimes we always blame the people in power, but we are the people that voted them in.
Our vote don't count.
All right. Should we go that route now? Should we go that route now? Because we are new. It's the solution we are talking about now.
The social justice with respect to election, let there be nothing like INEC. Let no organ controlled by government be in charge of our elections, because they will definitely dance to the tune of the government that instituted them and that paid them. Do you understand? So when you go to cast votes, you go there and cast your vote, and at the end of the day, things will be manipulated, results will be declared. That is not what you put there when you went out to stay under the sun to cast votes. So just like maybe in the United States where you have an independent organization that conducts election, they'll be bidding, and anybody, you hold that person or that organization, that group that you have awarded the contract responsible. And they will have nobody to pay allegiance of whatever kind to. So these are next stuff. If we really want to get it right, election-wise, should be scrapped.
They should be independent. Indeed.
They are not independent. There's nothing. Once the government is paying you, they will appoint the chairman of that place. How can you be independent? Let us face the facts and tell ourselves the truth.
Then what about the electorate? What about the people that collect money at the end of the day?
The people that collect money.
Yes.
Yes. Well, because of so much hunger in the society, people collect. And that's where we've been trying to maybe do some program to help people, sensitize them, let them know that that paltry sum you are collecting will not do anything for you in the next 4 years.
Which 4 years?
Because once you collect it and maybe you do the wrong thing, even those that were seen thumb printing, you know, social media now shows a lot of things. Though some people might not believe it, some are exaggerated, but some are also correct and right. So when you now do the wrong thing because you're paid and you are having party allegiance, I believe in putting somebody that I know that can deliver irrespective of party. Do you understand that? That's my belief. So when this electoral stuff about INEC being a government agency is removed from conducting our election, I think we'll get it better.
Okay. You want to add something to that?
What I want to say, because I can see this, my sister is not, she's not relaxed. She thought, I'm a Christian.
No, I'm not. No,
please, let's not go into
don't personalize
No,
it.
no, no,
We are
no,
looking
no,
at
no,
solution
no,
here.
no,
I'm
no.
not being personalized, and we are not personalizing
Solution will
it
start from
here.
the family setup.
Okay.
Because she raised a point before when we were growing up. Every old person in the society is your mother, is your father. If he does anything wrong, they will punish you. You will not even dare to do because everybody is looking at you. Now, they will beat you and carry you home. As they are handing you over to your mother is beating you. She didn't even care what you did. Her own justice or decision is that since this mother has caught you doing something wrong, you have done something wrong. Therefore, you must pay for it. And everybody becomes careful. But again, you talk about social justice. We talk about social media and internet. Internet did a lot of work in the life of our children.
Positively or negatively?
Both ways.
Okay.
Both ways. Because a child, initially, the mother, the family, and the community trains up children. Today, internet trains children. Your child will hold the phone here, talking to you. She has gone to where you will not even want to go, through the phone or through the computer. And because of that, they know more than you do. So all these things, and again, when they come out in the physical and see what is being played, they justify whatever they have seen in the internet. And they believe that is the way to go. So what I believe is, when we were small, we were attending catechism. You go there, they will tell you, if you do this, you go to hellfire. The community will tell you, Imenjo, Enyegirezo, Inebuoji. Abi? So you might think, and that is forever. It's not like any time it will stop. Then when you compare the punishment that is your mother will give you for doing something and temporarily, then you compare it to one you do forever and it will not stop. Then you caution yourself and monitor yourself when you do something. But today, somebody that is preaching you about hellfire is doing something that you will not even think in your heart. How do you justify that? Somebody in the community, a chief or a community elder, will be there knowing that this land belongs to this person. And this person will come and give him something. He will turn around and say, even if no, it won't then because of that, how will this person be happy? So all these things are just something that have played along the line and they have corrupted the system. And because of that, that's why I don't believe that Nigeria will join the international community to discuss about social justice.
All right. No.
Because we don't have even base for any social justice in anywhere.
Okay, to add to what you want to say, I know you have a whole lot to say. Now, we want to, look at some of the steps we can take individually and then collectively as a community, as an organization, as a church, as a society, to see that we bridge this inequality gap. Because when we are talking about social injustice, inequalities among them. So we can bridge this gap and see how we can, reduce these injustices to barest minimum.
It's when you know what is your problem, the solution, 50% solution is there. We have made emphasis to some of those good things that the community practiced before now that has helped, which we have left and abandoned. We talked about Nangwa Bungwara. Our children, a child is everybody's child. And everybody, the whole community contributes to the bringing forth of that child. But you find out that I've summarized all that we have said here from the very beginning. I talked about in a situation where injustice comes up is because people don't fear God anymore. Is because there is loss of moral values. He emphasized on the aspect of where the elder or the chief will know that this is the right thing, two people are having problems. But instead of saying the truth, because somebody has bribed him, giving him money, he will now turn the truth to become lie or false. So what am I trying to say? We can go back to those things that we are doing before. It's not easy because it's like everybody, you're on your own. She talked about where you can stand up, speak for somebody, say what is happening. But you find out that you are in a vehicle. And you find out that a passenger, before entering, had told driver, this is where I want to alight. Driver said, this is the amount. Maybe on getting there, the driver will say another amount. And you try to speak up to say, driver, this is not, or you know that this is the amount. Maybe the person did not even ask the driver the amount, but you know that from Amawabia to Aroma is 200 naira. But the person had not been to Aroma before. On getting there, the driver will say, tell the person it's 300. And the person will say, okay, they told me it's 200 naira. And driver will want to insist, but you knowing that it's 200 naira, by the time you want to speak up and say, driver, from Amawabia to Aroma is 200 naira, why do you want to? He will shout at you. Why will you put your mouth? Does it concern you? And people will now, because I don't want anybody to harass me speaking up for somebody, you will not keep quiet. On the day of your own, some people will keep quiet. So all these things, what we are trying to say is that we need to be our brother's keeper, just like my sister has said. We had to go back to our foundation. We had to rebuild it, the right foundation. Let us go back to begin to look at, if somebody comes to the community, we don't know how that person brought the money. We should stop giving them that chieftaincy title. We'll begin to look at a way of discouraging people from making ill-gotten wealth. But you find out, just like he said, people are being impoverished. Survival of the fittest. People want to survive, so they don't even care how that money comes again. What they needed is that, as far as I can get money, even during election, as long as I can get money to eat, that is my most paramount need now. They don't even care how that money comes. So we found out that everything will still go back to restoring our moral values, restoring our community, knowing that we are our brother's keepers. When we begin to do this, and private institutions coming together, collaborating with both the state government and the federal government, there's what they call, their civil responsibility or whatever.
Yes,
civic social responsibility.
CSR.
They have a social responsibility when they help. Assuming in a location where your factory or industry is located, if not for anything, you can even help to tar the road around that area. It will bring, you are enjoying it as your own business. It's also helping the community around that area to equally enjoy. So there are roles that we can play to support the role of the state government collectively, individually, in our different offices, in our different businesses, organizations, we do the right thing. Collectively, we can still, there is still hope as long as there is life.
All right, thank you so much for that. Nkoli, let's come to you. We are about actually rounding up on the show this morning. But then again, this commemoration started since the year 2009, and it has been on because it's an annual commemoration. And then we are still celebrating it this year, that is 2024. Now, my question is, how do you envision that the celebration of this social justice actually, that it can foster positive and, positive social change and also promoting equality in every sector?
Well, I think we should look inwards. I believe we have to have what is called contentment.
Okay.
Because if me, you, each and every one of us as individuals, we are contented with what we have, and at any stage we find ourselves in life, it will start with us. So if I do my bit in terms of positivity, doing things right, this other person does his or her bit, within time we will now come to the social justice that we are asking for. But you see, a lot of people want to do things because this person is doing. I have a car, and I feel that this my small car, I want to ride the bigger one, like the other person. But that person that you want to ride the car, that he or she is riding, you don't have the financial stability that person has. So contentment is the key when we individuals. On the part of government, I think helping out, for example, if I have money to build an industry, for example, and maybe where I got land to build it, there's no road, there's no electricity. The government should now come in to help by carrying the road to that my company that I have built and put electricity, so that that's encouraging investors to come and invest. So if when we do these things, it will help to the social injustice we are talking about in the society. And then if there are like victims of maybe, for example, abuse, human rights abuses, the key government sectors like the police, the judiciary, they will all help in ensuring that this victim gets justice. Important thing that Nigerians and the politicians, we should know what is the rule of law. I think it's a very basic concept, because people here don't obey court orders and rule of law. So once there's no rule of law in any society, it's very, very difficult to have social justice.
Okay, so you feel that beyond the commemoration of Social Justice Day, we all should just go out and do the right thing, to inculcate the right values, because we talked about moral decadence in our society, we talk about a whole lot. So beyond the commemoration, beyond what we are doing here today, talking about it, we should all go individually to our different organizations, different communities, even in our families, just like Onyeka said, because it starts from the family. And we begin right when these children are still very young to teach them the right thing and inculcate. Then you made mention of something, peer influence. Yes, I understand that, but then again, as a parent, if you can, when your child is still growing up, and then maybe leave the house, go to school, but you still monitor his or her activity to some extent, it can still help to put the child in the right direction and right track. On that note, we want to say a very big thank you to you for joining us on the show this morning. Thank you so much, Onyeka Obieze, for being part of the show this morning.
I thank everyone for listening to us, and Madam.
All right. All right. Also, Nkoli Ebede, Legal Aid Coordinating Committee Coordinator, LAC, Anambra State. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
And Hope Okoye, the Executive Director, Intercom Africa. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for listening.
Well, that's it on the show this morning. My name is Chidimma Orangwa. See you again tomorrow. Bye for now.